I'm Nicole, and welcome to the Noble Content Lab. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing how to create new content in the Content Lab. Once you log in, you're going to go up to the top left of your screen and click on the New Content button. That'll bring you directly here. The first step is going to be to enter in our basic information. That's going to be our keyword, the domain address, and the due date. For the keyword, you can do either long or short keywords. For this example, we're going to use ideal word count for SEO. For the domain, that's going to be the website where you're going to be adding this piece of content to. In this example, we're going to actually be adding it directly into the Noble knowledge base. So we're going to use nobleseo.io. Make sure that you include the https:// before the domain name. For the due date, we're going to go ahead and select today as we're going to be working on it, but especially when you assign these out to different content team members like writers, you can extend it out further and it'll automatically pull up for them the ones that are due sooner so they can work on those and prioritize what's most needed for your clients. You can also enter in if the keyword requires a local or international search. For this example, we're going to go with no. Then we're going to press next. The content details are all optional. Of course, it's always best to include as much information as you can, so that way you can ensure that what you're thinking you want your content to look like, Noble can help to generate it. The more information you give it, the better it's able to do. Under the groups, we selected the Noble Content Lab as that's the client we're working for. When you have a Noble account, you'll be able to create different client profiles that will also include the voice and the tone for the client. So that way when we're writing for, let's say, the Noble Content Lab, it'll reference back to that voice and tone that you previously selected for the client. It also makes it easier to find all of the different pieces that you've written in the past for the client and add different users to those client folders. For the page intent, you can select informational, transactional, or commercial. For this piece, we're going to enter it in as informational. For the title tags, you can again leave it blank, enter in your own, or we can generate it right here. When you generate it at this stage, it allows Noble to just have a little bit more information up front with what you're looking to do and give you a better AI generated content. All right, so here's a couple of title tag suggestions. Word count in SEO, the complete guide. How many words do you need for SEO rankings? Ideal blog post length for SEO success? Word count in SEO, what really matters? This one seems intriguing to me, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. For the H1 header, you can also generate this as well, again, or you can type in your own. I'm going to go ahead and press generate. And remember, all of this we're doing live on the spot, so we'll see the results that we get together. H1 header suggestions. How many words does your SEO content need? The ideal length for SEO content in 2024. We don't want to make it outdated up at the front. SEO word count, finding the sweet spot. What's the perfect word count for SEO success? I like this one. It says exactly what we're looking for. And then for the proposed URL, again, you can adjust this yourself, but typically it'll put the domain name that you entered and then the keyword after it. We can also enter in the word count for minimum and maximum. This is definitely important for clients that have very specific requirements. Otherwise, Noble will automatically look at competitor articles that are currently ranking on Google for the keyword that you have and suggest the amount of words that they believe will make your article relevant as well as compete with them. Let's go ahead and press submit. Right now, Noble is doing live research on the web to see what's currently being pulled up for the results that you want. All right, let's get started. There's 3 different options that we have for writing content. We have the AI generated content. That's when Noble is going to actually pull the content directly using AI. We don't really have to give it a lot of information. It's going to go out there and do the writing itself. For optimizing existing content, that's what we can use if, let's say, we already have a blog on this topic and we want to just go ahead and optimize it even further for SEO. Maybe right now we're not getting traction on our website, but we want to. We can just copy and paste that content right in here. There's also the manual writing piece, where if you clicked on this, you'll go directly to a screen where you can just enter in the information and type it up as if it was into, let's say, a Word document, and it'll automatically live score, still recommending the keywords that you should use. But this is going to be an awesome tool, especially if you're writing for, let's say, a healthcare client that has a lot of rules and regulations, and a lot of times they don't allow AI content there. The manual writing tool will still allow you to optimize it to be found on Google without worrying too much about what's being generated in whatnot. For this example, we're going to go ahead and click on the AI generated content and press start. It'll automatically pull up the different competition articles that it found online, the keywords, the word count, the predictive text, and any sort of debugging. You're going to want to review the competition articles. Sometimes it gives you ones like, let's say, this Reddit article that we're just not necessarily looking for. We don't really want to compete against it. Sometimes it'll pull up, like, let's say, a Wikipedia page. You can go ahead and just remove those, but the rest of them look good. You can also click on them as well and see what the content looks like if you're unsure. Then we're going to go over to the keywords. So this is what is currently being found online on these different competition sites that are being ranked for this topic. Sometimes they're not going to make too much sense though to include. So for example, sometimes names pop up. We don't necessarily want those. We don't really know who they are, so we're going to go ahead and get those removed. Homepage content, major search engines. Yeah, we're doing all this live, so bear with me as I go through them here real quick. I'll probably miss a couple of different ones, but you can always go ahead and adjust as well. Sometimes if you're writing for a client, you will also end up pulling up different pieces that'll include competition out there. Maybe it's their direct competitor. You're going to want to make sure to also remove those as well. If you don't, again, it's no big deal. You can always do it later. What's nice about Noble is at any point in the process, you can go ahead and customize it and adjust it, but this will help to give it the best piece of content from day one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press next. For the seed data, you can enter in information that's directly on the website. So what's kind of interesting is AI pulls data that's back from 2021, which could be a little bit dated. If you want to enter in a more recent article, you can enter seed data in here so that way it can pull the most fresh content. Let's say Google just went ahead and posted an update last night about word count, and you want to include it, you can copy it in right here. For this example, we're just going to go ahead and press next. But if you did want to put in information, you can either put the webpage URL, copy and paste the information right here. Just make sure to go ahead and press this generate seed data summary so that way it can actually pull and process the information that it found. All right, for the content outline, as you can see, there's a lot of different options to match what the client is looking for. You can create a blog, a landing page, product listing, a product, a how-to page, or a guest post. I'm going to go ahead and press blog because that's probably the most common that you're going to see. You can also select to use the brand style guide. Remember back when we selected the Noble Content Lab as the client that we were working for? That's the spot where it's going to be referencing that brand style guide that we've previously inputted. We're going to go ahead and generate that outline. So this is the outline that it recommends for our keyword that we have. You want to go ahead and review through it and see what makes the most sense. Now, sometimes it'll pop up little spots that just don't add up, so we'll go ahead and remove those. See, perfect word count for SEO, understanding word count. You can also add in different elements that you want to include in your article as well right here, as if you're writing your own outline, and then when it writes the actual content itself, it'll include that. It's also important if sometimes they'll have a recommendation page on, let's say if you're writing for a furniture company, it'll be the best furniture companies to purchase your living room set at. Sometimes you're going to want to remove those because that's going to pull in a lot of the competitors and end up writing about those. And especially for client sites, you don't want to reference a lot of their direct competitors, so you can remove that directly from the outline before it even does that. We're going to go ahead and turn off table of contents though, because we do not want to include that in our blog. We can also select the tone, academic, conversational, creative, empathetic, humorous, lighthearted, professional, or simple. I'm going to go ahead and put simple here. We want to make sure that this article is approachable for all different levels. And then we're going to go ahead and generate it. I'm going to do high quality here. There is a couple of options. Now, Noble does take just a couple minutes to generate that piece of content, but again, it's time that you're not writing. It's saving you time and energy that you would have otherwise spent looking at competitors, doing keyword research. You really just need to have the base keyword to start, and then it'll do the rest of the work for you. And it'll even remind you to water your plants. All right, and here's our article. So occasionally there could be just a little bit of formatting that we got to go ahead and manually adjust, but that's where either your writing team can come in. It's all very straightforward as well with what you need to do. We always recommend reading through the article fully before putting it online. With any AI tool, you want to make sure you add that human element, that human edit to it, so that way it's definitely readable and approachable with your audience that you have. But let's walk through what the Content Lab of tools have access for you. So when you're on this main screen, you can see the keyword that you're optimizing for, so the ideal word count for SEO. You can see your content score. This is between 1 and 100, and it grades your content quality as well as the relevance for the keyword that you have. Right here, you'll see the top and the average. These are the scores that the competitors have, so we're already doing a lot better right here, even without doing a quick edit on here. You can also adjust the status. This is going to be important if you have a team of writers or editors working on the content. You can select if it's under approved, published, unknown. Maybe you're at a tricky spot with it, waiting for approval if you're having the client look at it, or under editing so you know what's being worked on. On the overview side, you will see all the different keywords that we should be including to the best of our ability in this piece. What's really nice is it goes ahead and puts the main keyword first, so ideal word count for SEO. Of course, because that's the keyword we want to talk about right now, we definitely have to make sure we include it. It also includes next to it here a score. So if you see this 5-1 through 5, 5 is how many times that we've actually used this keyword in our article. You can even click on it and it'll show you where that keyword is. The 1 to 5 is the recommended amount of times that you include the keyword in your article. So with this instance, it's a minimum of 1 time and a maximum of 5 times that it recommends writing the specific keyword ideal word count for SEO in the article. It will put an asterisk next to it if the word has been used too many times. Let's go ahead and unselect that one. Just leave search engines. So right now we've used this keyword 9 times when the recommended amount is 1 through 6 times. So if possible, it's always good for your editor to go through and remove a couple of those extra instances if possible, or perhaps enter in another word. It'll help to increase your score at the end. On the bottom, there's the summary. So you have the words. With this article specifically, it's recommended between 1,800 and 2,200 words for the article to be relevant. Right now we're a little bit under, so it's showing in the yellow. For headings, that's of course how many H1s, H2s, and H3s that we should be using. We currently are at 16 of the recommended 0 through 20, so we're doing well. Paragraphs, it recommends between 12 and 162. Right now we're at 9. I do see there's a couple of just formatting things that popped up here that if I went ahead and pressed enter, I would probably get to that recommended paragraph amount, which will automatically go ahead and increase that score. One of those easy fixes. All right, now remember before how I said that everything is adjustable throughout the whole stage? Right here is where I'm going to show you how. For the SEO tool, the H1 heading, you can change that at any point in time. You can even have it generate some recommended examples. For the page title, the proposed URL, the page intent, looking at the domain link, the competitors, it is all visible for you and your team right here. The details, it'll show you who's working on the content, when it's due, when it was last updated. Sometimes you can keep your content in here, and let's say a year or 2 down the road, you're just not sure if it's relevant anymore. You can go ahead and do another round of analysis. So that way you can see what's the current score. How do we make it better now based off the current market? And it'll also show the different activity. All right. And then a couple more features at the top here. I want to cover some of the basics. You can unlock or lock the page for editing. If you have a lot of people that are working in it at a given time, it'll actually lock the content piece so only one person can edit it at a time. It's nice you're not both working on it on the same time, doing edits, and then one person's work just gets lost. Once it's locked, the rest of your team won't be able to edit it until you unlock it and essentially lock them out. It's an automatic safe catch that's really nice for having multiple editors. You can also share the piece right here with both an editable link or a read-only link. Read-only is great for clients, depends on what you need. You can copy it directly right here, and then you can just save the content when it's done. Everything can be changed in here. We can type, add different words, it'll adjust our score, and that's the basic overview of how to create a new piece of content in the Noble Content Lab. Hope you found this informational and look forward to seeing all the content that your team produces.